Thank you very much. I'm listening to all this, and I see this whole world from a different perspective, obviously, from what I do. I'm a forensic gynecologist, and I basically deal with sexual abuse. And a great deal, not a great deal, a significant amount of my work is with Child Protective Services. And that I see them as a different thing than you see them. I see them as people who are underpaid, undertrained, overworked, and they have a real issue in the risk ratio. If they make a mistake and the child dies, it's a very, very significant event. It's not, they're going to naturally protect themselves by overstating rather than understating. Classic, little girl goes on this 27-mile bicycle ride, teenager with her parents, and she breaks her ankle. And the nurses say, my God, she's got a red bottom. And they say, oh, it must have been the sex abuse. I need to take the child away. Then the lawyer calls me and I say, no, this is not from sex abuse. This is from riding a bicycle for 27 miles. And this is the kind of thing we see all the time. But they're and because of their sway, they overstate and they take more kids away than they should take away. And with the assumption, I'm assuming that it'll be bailed out. But to them, it's the bigger risk to not take the child away than this to take the child away. I know you don't like hearing any of this, but it's from their perspective of being a Child Protective Services worker. Your job is to make sure nobody gets badly hurt. That's what your job, that's what you're paid for. The other thing was in the dealing with Heather's talk about the doctor, the man on death row. It's fascinating because I spent a great deal of time on it, and the charges are fortunately they have good photographs that we can be able to show fairly clearly that what they said happened did not happen. And what actually happened was the first doctor, the first gynecologist or pediatrician that saw the child, the only one that saw a child that was alive, didn't know anything about kids, didn't know anything about kids' vaginas, and he made a mistake. And so now we jump to the next group, the head of, this happens to be the head of all this in Florida, he protecting the first guy who saw it. So the information that the court had was absolutely wrong. They made the correct decision based on what they were told by the doctors on the court, but the information from the doctors was totally wrong. And it's clear, and we spent a good deal of time putting it together, but the guy's still in death row based on bad information from the first incompetent examiner that was then multiplied by a man in the same field, another pediatrician, a major name, and who was now protecting the first guy. So it's an interesting case. The guy should not be in jail. And everybody's, Heather's working very hard to get him out of jail, but I don't know where it stands right now, but it was really clear because we fortunately had all the records. And they were voluminous, but we did have them. Socially, I see the little note, social workers are held accountable for their acts. I don't know how you're going to do that, except having a very competent supervisor who you can complain to and balance it. I mean, some of the things I've seen, they just make the wrong decision because it's safer. They make the safe decision for themselves, the social worker. Other problem we're having with the Child Protective Services now is the use in our courts in the United States, at least, in social situations, divorce, child custody. All of a sudden, that's what they do, how they want to get custody of the child. One classic case that I had, I think it was in Montana, where when the kid came to trial, sweet little kid, she gave her testimony.
that you turn around and say, see, I said that just exactly like my mother taught me, the testimony, and which finished the case. But this is a problem that we're dealing with. Child Protective Services has to deal with, that we're now being used as a method of custody thing, and especially if we're going to get the child out of the country, because the rules for letting kids go out of the country be taken away from the other parent are much different. So I'm listening to you, and I understand everybody here has an individual problem, and they're real, but there is another side, and I think that one of the ways of dealing with it would be to better train the Child Protective Services and work on setting up better programs for them, so you don't have these problems. If they are educated, we spent the time and energy on getting competency, a lot of these situations are very simple if they have the correct information. But you also have to accept the fact that they're going to be err on the side of protecting the child in their mind. It's not a simple issue. It's not as simple. It sounds like an easy fix. It's not an easy fix. I don't know how to do it. I'm not saying I know how to fix it, but I think some of the effort should go into trying to improve the quality of the Child Protective Services people, and better trained, better paid, and smaller case files, so they have a chance to do a proper job. I'm not defending them, but I'm saying this is the reality. They're underpaid, overworked, and undertrained. So you would expect to have problems, and there are going to be problems. And as much as we all want the mothers to have the babies, sometimes mothers shouldn't have the babies. Sometimes children are injured, severely injured. Sometimes it's accidental. Sometimes it's nothing to do with the injury at all. I'm giving a little spiel for the others. I sound like I'm talking for the other side. I'm not. I'm very sympathetic to what you're saying. But I think that we have to look at some of the reasons why they occur and how to deal with it. I think a more effective way would be to train in these Child Protective Services people better, and have them responsible, have better supervision for them. I have a system in which you can ask for a review. I think that would be a more significant approach to it. It's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you so much. So, of course, the laws on the books do provide for review, and they do have standards for the kind of training and the level of information that should be there. But the fact of the matter is that it's not implemented in practice. And whereas, of course, there's a problem, it's not that children don't get abused or neglected, or that intervention may not be required. But, this is an issue that faces all aspects of, human existence, and as well as the law. Rapes happen, murders happen, theft happens, all kinds of things happen. But the legal system for all these other areas of the law, including terrorism, is that you're innocent until you're proved guilty. And that the burden of proof is on the state. And also you have to, prove concrete things. You have to prove that you committed a criminal act, and you have to prove that you did the action with a criminal intention. And none of these are applying in this area of the family law. And there's been, people have been asking for more training and better information and reviews and all now for decades, and it's not made any difference. I think that a much more useful way of looking at this is that, a welfare intervention should not have any punitive power. You shouldn't have any power to punish the families that you're supposed to help. and that, you know, if you need to intervene to help a child who may be at risk, you know, it has to be done in a completely different way, from getting the police to come, break down your door, snatch away your children without any warning, take them to a secret location, and then be told that you're not going to be able to see them again until they are 18. You know, I mean, so yeah, the reality of the system is that it's just like it's a sledgehammer. It's giving too much power, and it is not if you took away the power to remove children from their families and communities entirely and place them somewhere secretly, and the emphasis was on, you know, intervening to help, and also that, you know, the threshold for intervention cannot be things like, of course, you know, Dr. Hariton deals with sexual abuse allegations, but you know, the sexual abuse allegations are the tiniest proportion of these child abuse and neglect cases in every jurisdiction. I did a study of it in the United Kingdom, in the US, and in Norway, to whatever extent data was available on this. And the vast majority of children are being taken away on not on grounds of either physical or sexual abuse or even of violence, but on things like what is that phrase which Nina used? Future emotional harm, and you know, and all kinds of parameters of neglect, which are basically just describing an impoverished house. I mean, I'm Indian. There's poverty all around me, and you know, you see that. So these are the problems with the system. But thanks a lot for that.